Present.
Thompson.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Garcia.
Here, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all of those who are present with us, as well as those who are joining us online. We move on to item number 2, public comment. Has anybody signed in, Frankie? Nope. All right, so we move on to item number 3, consent agenda. Item A, the October 5th, 20 Commission meeting minutes, appropriation ordinances 2020-20, 2020-20A, 2020-P20. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I move.
Motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Commissioner Ferris. Any other questions or concerns? Mary, read through it.
Thompson.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Romo.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Move on to item 4, ordinances, resolution 1569, the NRP amendment and extension. Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. We discussed the neighborhood revitalization plan at the previous city commission meeting. As a reminder, the NRP is set to expire at the end of the year, and the interlocal agreement is set to expire at the end of the year. We reviewed the proposed changes, which were proposed by Rochelle Stanley, the county appraiser. The county appraiser's office kind of facilitates the NRP and achieve some plan amendments recommended. So we reviewed those at the last meeting. Commissioners didn't have any recommended changes at that time. I did take these same documents to the school board. Their meeting last Monday, and the school board did unanimously vote to approve the amendments to the extension. So if we approve the same resolution, it would extend and amend the neighborhood revitalization plan until the end of December 2023. So it would be effectively a 3-year extension to the plan. And if approved by the city commissioners, then we just need the county commission to approve, and then all 3 entities will have approved and extended the amended plan. So we recommend, I recommend that if the resolution be passed, it would answer any questions at this time.
And just for clarification purposes, if all 3 entities approve this, then we don't have to contact or pass it through the Attorney General anymore, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
So if there's language in the existing plan that says the entities may amend and extend the plan, as long as all 3 parties agree to the amendment, we don't have to go back to the Attorney General's office. If the plan were to lapse and not reach agreement of the parties, then we would have to go through the whole process again.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for Andrew? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept resolution 1569.
I'll move that we accept resolution 1569.
Have a motion by Commissioner Thompson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Howard. Any questions or concerns? Mary, read through.
Romo.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Thank you. Move on to item 5, formal action. Item A, transfer of property at 10008 Main Avenue. Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This item was discussed at our previous city commission meeting and at the meeting preceding that as well. We were unable to reach agreement at the last meeting about what to do with the property at 10008 Main. This is a property that the city purchased and has worked out a deal with Northwest Tech and to have that property transferred to them. At the previous meeting, we had a 2-2 split vote as to whether or not we would transfer the property at this time or whether we would figure out kind of a bidding audience tonight, is my understanding. I would defer to him or to any commissioners at this time.
Yeah, I think that we'll have Ben make his presentation. I guess he was going to make a presentation again. Good. All right, so you might just refresh since there was one commissioner absent, which was Commissioner Ferris. And then we'll open the floor up for the commissioners.
Okay. So yeah, I was wondering, I was telling Frankie just a minute ago, I wasn't sure if we were going to karaoke tonight without the podium up front here. So I'll try not to do that. But appreciate the slides back up again. Thank you. So we talked a little bit last month about the possibilities of what can be done with this building and Northwest Tech's engagement in that as a possibility. So you can kind of see a little bit on the storefront here on this side, and a little bit obviously from a physical aspect in downtown, quite a bit outside that we can do as far as upkeep on that particular piece and some renovation work there. We can go ahead and move through some of those slides and look at some of the interior work that'll need to be done. On the right-hand side is the current state of the basement, and on the left-hand side with piles of trash and support beams in the middle there is basically the first floor when you walk in. And back, you can't really see it from this shot, but back behind the trash pile is the stairway that goes down into the basement on the right. We'll go ahead and move through to the next ones here. And this is kind of the upstairs. And so this is kind of looking on the left-hand side. This is looking east at what was apartments at one point in time. And then on the other piece, of course, where apartments were there as well. And so what we really began this conversation with Andrew was looking at the possibility, as I mentioned last month, one of my hopes since being here at the college was for us to move into the community further, was to find some way in which we could have a Main Street presence and have an opportunity to be downtown, both for the sake of contributing into the community, but also for the ability for us to get our students off campus into the community further, and to be able to put together something nice to partner with the city. And so we began that conversation with Andrew. Of course, became aware of the changes that were going on with the roof as that needed to be replaced. And of course, during some of those early conversations with regard to that, I know there was some, discussion. What do you do with this building in the current state that it was in? A lot of what you see as far as damage in there is a result of course, a hole that was in the roof for a number of years and leaking down through all 3 floors into the basement. And if you can't tell in there, certainly if you take a walk through, you can see all kinds of mold and good stuff like that in there. But of course, the decision at that point in time was rather than tear a downtown building down, which I think obviously was, in my opinion, the right decision. Because I think it doesn't portray well when you're tearing downtown buildings down. But to be able to do something with that space, and that's where Northwest Tech really came into the conversation, which was we have our carpentry and electrical programs that can be able to step in and be able to do the work to be able to renovate that space. At the same time, it provides a really good practical experience for the students when it comes to framing and remodeling. And as we mentioned last month as well, a lot of the stuff, especially for our carpentry students, when they head out into industry, there's not going to be quite as much new build as there maybe has been in the past. A lot of what they're going to face is this. It's going to be renovation of space and a lot of renovation work that happens. And so again, it seemed like a really great combination between what we were looking to do from a curriculum standpoint and being able to put together something in a downtown space. As well, I kind of mentioned just a little bit on that background on that particular building. It's kind of a neat building. It's got a lot of good history to it. During its early years after it was built, it was a pharmacy. And then a doctor came in and opened up inpatient overnight care upstairs. So affectionately, and in essence, the first hospital in town. So it's a really neat building. And of course, I have an affinity for old buildings. I was a history major in college, so I love to see things restored and put back to their former glory and put into a good community use. So we looked at this and took a walk through it and had a chance to kind of look at it and think outside the box. And taking a walk through that, we had to think way outside the box as far as what we could do with that space. Began some conversations just, in the happenstance that something would happen with the school district, and Mr. Bierman and I talked quite a bit about, how can we do some things from a programmatic standpoint that really bridge the work they're doing at the high school with the work that we're doing at the college. And some of the stuff that we've talked about as far as ideas that we've kicked around has been, they have an entrepreneurship program there at the high school where students get the opportunity to pitch businesses and come up with some creative ideas that they can do. And so we've talked about doing something really two different options really on the table. One of which was, we're looking at some kind of a storefront opportunity downtown, in which the entrepreneurship students can help run whatever the business incubator piece is. We've talked about moving our graphic design program downtown. That being a possibility because we do a lot of production work there in the graphic design program. The other option that we've taken a look at as well has been putting it into an event space. So basically on the first floor, taking the renovation of that space, so putting back in nice wide plank hardwood floors, exposing the walls, which are if you go slide back to that plaster there it is. This kind of gives you an idea, at least some kind of a concept of something that we've talked about, which is exposing the brick walls, having the hardwood floors, having some Edison lights, having something that really gives it kind of a classy upscale look. So much, of course, that's happening right now in economic development in especially rural communities is having a destination something to go to when you have an event or you have a diner, a cafeteria, or not cafeteria, but a restaurant, those kinds of things. And we're seeing these crop up in Northwest Kansas all over the place. So you go over to Hoxie, you can see it in the Elephant over there. Having places like this where they're taking a downtown building and turning it into something special. And so it really, really presented an opportunity for us to be able to put our expertise to work with our students and our faculty to renovate this space. We have affectionately, jokingly called it the foundation because from a structural standpoint, that's about the only thing worth keeping in addition to the roof, obviously. And so a lot of work's going to have to go into it. One of the things that we bring to the table as far as the college is concerned is that we are a 501c3. And so being a nonprofit entity, that opens us up to a lot more as far as grant writing capabilities to be able to fund some of the work that we're doing. It's not a short run. I was very clear on that the last meeting. It's not going to be a turnkey, let's get it done in 1 year kind of renovation. It's really going to be, we're going to have to strip it down to the studs, floors included, and probably have some joists that are going to have to be replaced in there as well. So it's going to take us some time. I'm going to say probably in the ballpark of 3 to 4 years to really get it up and operational. But when it is on the main floor, if we look at something along this line of thinking, being able to have an event space that, again, is really nice that we can utilize for college functions, for community functions, for receptions, for birthday parties. It's a multi-use space, or has the potential to be. And then we've talked about doing upstairs, having that particular space be a nonprofit area. And so we've talked about moving our foundation downtown, the Endowment Association. So again, it kind of creates another presence downtown for the college. And then also creating office space up top. We kind of looked at a little bit of this concept based on what's happening in Norton and some of their downtown revitalization, which, as I mentioned last month, if you have the opportunity to see, they're really doing some cool stuff up there. But they've taken some of their downtown buildings and renovated the upstairs space, and that's where some of their local community foundations now house, as well as having some outside of event space, but also having conference room space so that entities can come in and meet and that kind of stuff. So that's really the nuts and bolts. I think I probably said it faster this time than I did last time. But that's really the concept. And we really looked at this as an opportunity for us, again, to bridge a partnership with the city and the college. We've had really good relationship working with Andrew over the last several years, and have really enjoyed that. Again, thinking outside of the box, pulling together, which is really, again, in a rural community, what's absolutely critical for the college's survival, and in my opinion, for the cities. The college itself has an annual economic impact of about $16 million. And so as far as tax revenue that we drive into the community is pretty significant via our students who come and live here and spend money, who work in businesses throughout the area, and who later on graduate and still stay in the area and contribute back into the local economy. So we have a lot of alumni in this area that have done that. So we consider the work that we do as far as the college is concerned already to be a significant economic impact to this community, and really presented, again, a unique opportunity for us to be able to partner with the city to make some really good stuff happen.
Okay, commissioners, questions for Ben?
Is there going to be enough parking down there for this?
So I think one of the things is that if you take a look up and down Main Street, especially in the evenings, which would be when if we use this in more of a functional space in the evenings, there's plenty of parking space on Main Street, no problem at all. During the day, if we end up going with an option that involves a little bit more of a storefront idea, entrepreneurship kind of piece of it with the school district, then even during the course of the day, I think it would be perfectly fine. Yep.
Yeah, at your last presentation, you had alluded that they had some building in Norton too that turned out really nice.
Yeah, that was where I was talking kind of with that downtown revitalization that they've been doing in their downtown area, kind of around the square, and kind of looking at that, emulating that just a little bit, and again opening that upstairs to nonprofits to be able to possibly house there as well. So, you betcha.
Any questions for Andrew?
I think we all kind of asked all of our questions and had all that last meeting. It was more kind of for Gary, I think, if he had any other questions or comments.
Well, it looks to me like you're going to spend a fortune on a building that's not worth anything as it is.
There's no doubt to that. I mean, I think, and we talked about that a little bit at the last meeting, which was, would we consider purchasing the building? And I was very upfront with that. And the answer to that would be no, simply because if we were going to look to invest additional dollars into it beyond what we grant right, we would probably look to pick a different building downtown should one come available at some point down the road where we didn't have quite as big a hole to dig out of. But yeah, this is going to be a daunting task. But I think, again, from an educational standpoint, priceless. Really good opportunity for our students.
As I said last meeting, I appreciate what you would do with the building.
Yeah.
But the city has $43,000 in this building, and I still think it should go up for sale for a allotted amount of time under some other restrictions to somebody else. And at that point, if it doesn't sell, go ahead and sell it to the VOTEC for the dollar. But I think in retrospect for the residents of Goodland, and it's their money that's already in the building, that we need to try to recoup some of that back to start with.
Any comments on JJ's thoughts?
Nobody in their right mind is going to buy that and fix it up. It'd be worth a fraction of what they get in it.
But you don't know that until you put that out there, though. There might be somebody that's willing to put that money into that building.
Well, I don't know.
If you give 30 days and nobody comes forward and wants it, then we go ahead and we give it to the VOTEC.
Andrew, any thoughts?
Well, I made my, I don't want to be a broken record for what I said at the last meeting, but I think this is a really good project. I think that, Ben makes a really good point about how big of an economic driver Northwest Tech is for our community. And if we were looking at an economic development incentive or something for a different business, I think we would all jump at the opportunity to incentivize the business in this way. And maybe we don't always realize how big of an economic development driver the tech school is. I totally understand where Commissioner Howard's coming from, wanting to put the property out and see kind of what's out there, but I also kind of think, the old saying that a bird in the hand's worth two in the bush, and I think we all have confidence and faith in that Northwest Tech is going to complete a project like this, and that we have a good plan in place. So I would be more in favor of continuing down that route, and obviously committing what we had previously talked about, committing to Northwest Tech. If the property is put out for bid, or if we go that route, just to reiterate, one of my biggest concerns is that someone will buy this property for cheap sit on it and not do anything. So I think we shouldn't be looking at what is the potential sale price for a building like this, but we should look at what sort of investments will somebody make into a property like this. I think Ben, the Northwest Texas building make a very sizable investment into this property and a commitment of all those resources. So, I think we need to kind of get off center one way or the other, but I think, I don't think any world in which we go with Northwest Tech and helping them and supporting them, it's going to be a direction that we regret.
Good, gentlemen. I am open for some more thoughts. Motion.
Well, I think, last meeting we had 4 commissioners and a 2-2 vote. This has been a long time discussion that has been going on. I think it would only be fair if a full 5 commission vote were to happen on it. So saying that, I'm going to go ahead and move, as last meeting, that we transfer the property of Kenway, Maine to the college for the amount of $1.
Have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Have a second by Commissioner Ferris. Any further thoughts? Mary,
Howard,
No.
Harrison,
Yes.
Thompson,
No.
Rumbaugh,
Yes.
Garcia.
yes. Okay, thank you for your
All right.
thoughts. We move on to item B, Flatlanders Festival payment. Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I believe we had Mr. Lincoln Wilson come and speak under public comment a couple meetings ago. And the Flatlander Festival Committee is requesting that the city make their payment for the year to the Flatlander Festival. City annually appropriates $2,500 to the Flatlander Festival as a donation to help that event. Obviously, this year they did not hold the Flatlander Festival. They did not hold the event. So city procedure around something like that would be to not issue payments. So again, looking for direction from commissioners. I think Lincoln had alluded to that they have some expenses because they don't hold the event that need to be paid. I am not involved enough in the Flatlander Festival to kind of know the ins and outs of that. So again, looking for direction from commissioners on, do we want to make the payments this year? Do we want to not make the donation this year? An alternative option 3 that I have considered is maybe we put that money in a reserve account and then not make the payment this year, and then next year we would make a $5,000 payment for the two $2,500 payments. But I think either way, we kind of know how commissioners want to proceed with those donation funds.
Lincoln, would you like to address the commission?
Good evening, thank you. Let me start with option 3. Option 3 for Flatlanders Festival Committee is not an option. I cannot delay the insurance premiums at $1,700 a year until next year. This is a business. It's operated as a business, and those expenses continue to carry forth whether the event happens or not. Several years ago, when I made the presentation to both the city and the county, there are certain basic expenses that must be met, and there are certain basic business items that must be met in order to try and have next year's event. You can't wait until next year to go out and ask somebody if they want to come. You start doing those things today. Flatlanders brought in, I think last year, and I have my notes here, so I shouldn't say I think, a little over $625,000 or $630,000 in 2017. 2020 was a pandemic year. No one could have foreseen that. certainly from our aspect of it. But it is a fact that we could not handle, or we chose not to expose the community to a potential illness. But yet the expenses that we had continued on. So I'm here to answer any questions that there may be, but I'm certainly here to ask the city and I'm asking the city to extend that payment to us. But the cash expense for the city's, the budget line item is $2,500. I've asked for 18 because that's what it's going to take. And the other remaining dollars to be put forth wherever it needs to go. Any other questions, please?
So the Flatlander Committee, I assume that you generate revenues from the festival itself.
Yes and no.
Okay.
The Flatlander program is purely a donation. We go out and we knock on doors and ask for $100 here, $100 there. And pardon my gum. Festival it's a 501c. We are not for profit, not a nonprofit, but a not for profit organization. So anything that comes in, 100% goes out. So there is no carryover or building of a budget for Flatlanders. We've been doing it under that program since 2005, and it's a struggle every year to try to get enough dollars to put on Flatlanders. So no, there is no carry forward.
So you don't make money off of like vendor fees or car club payments or any of those things. You don't get any of that.
We don't get anything from the car club, nothing from the racetrack, nothing from the motorcycle group, nothing from the retailers on Main Street that are open or have someone along the sidewalk or their businesses. The only revenue that comes into Flatlanders is that the committee goes out and begs $400 here. We value the city's contribution at about $5,000, not just that $2,500, because they also extend to us the personnel necessary to move those events around. But the porta potties, the advertising, the websites, all of those things come out of what we're able to hustle in order to put on that event. The money that we spend, and we do get $1,000 from the Chamber of Commerce and have for the last several years to put on the picnic in the park. The picnic in the park runs us about $4,000. All of that is due and generated from donations from the community. Nothing else is there for us to do that. This year, of course, we weren't able to do that. We are the only organization that I know of that we don't go to the community and say, here's my handout, please give me something. We go to Walmart and we spend about $6,000 at Walmart. But we go there to spend money. Now, granted, we asked them to make it as little as possible, but we are a contributor back into the community for Flatlanders.
Any thoughts from our commissioners?
I'm fully supportive of just staying with our commitments and funding them $2,500 to let them do as needed. I mean, it's just a huge economic boost for us, and it's probably not enough. But I think they need all of it, especially this year.
You need 1,800.
I could use the 25, but I asked for 18.
Well, if we don't give you all of it, we can put it in, save it to go in next year's.
I've got an expense factor for it already. A reduction of the dollars really just limits our opportunity to make sure that we have this for next year and at least try and recover some of the economic impact or impact loss that we had this year. We've got clubs. Last year we had visitors from Colorado, Kansas, Wyoming, Nebraska, California, Texas, and Louisiana. Those outside vendors, not only those outside vendors and participants, people passing through, they came here because of an ad that we placed in their travel magazines, that Flatlanders placed, not economic development, not the CVB, not the motorcycle club, but that Flatlanders placed in and said, into September, Labor Day wasn't your last chance. Goodland, Kansas is your last chance for the summer. So do I have a resource? Do I have an outlet for all of those dollars? Absolutely we do. Could we use them? Yes. But quite frankly, when I said 1,800 versus 25, it was simply because I knew that the revenue reduction in the community because of Flatlanders, I wasn't going to ask for the money.
Any other thoughts, Commissioner Carroll?
I think that takes a bit of integrity for you to come in and ask for less than we're allotted for you just to pay the minimal expenses. That being said, I also feel like we should go ahead and just give you the full amount.
Thank you.
For current expenses and expenses into the future. So by saying that, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the payment of $2,500 to the Flatlander Festival Committee.
I'll second.
A motion on the floor by Commissioner Thompson and second by Commissioner Howard. Any questions or concerns? Mary, read through.
Thompson.
Yes.
Roundabout.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, we move on to item number 6, discussion review of board applicant. Looks like Dr. Norman Means. Andrew?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. In your agenda packet, we should have two applicants to fill 2 vacancies on the City Advisory Board. We have one from Dr. Norman Means, who is seeking appointment to the Airport Advisory Board, and one from Marlene Whitaker, who is seeking appointment to the Cemetery Advisory Board. Both applications were sent to the advisory board, and they did review and recommend that these applicants be appointed to their board. So if appointed by the city commission, they would serve 3-year terms on the board. And you have their applications in front of you, listing their credentials and experience.
I know both of these individuals. I know that they would be committed to their roles. You would bring this for formal action at the next meeting?
I mean, we can do it today if you want.
That's correct. Yeah, so it would be,
Generally,
the typical process has been to have it as a discussion item and future action item.
any questions for Andrew?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, thank you, Andrew. Move on to item number 7, report city manager. Andrew, you're on.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. So we did have a discussion from a staff level about, usually around this time we're starting to plan the holiday party for the city in December. I think just with where COVID is and with kind of the uncertainty of being able to plan an event of that nature, after discussing it with staff, I think our recommendation would just be to cancel that party this year, not hold a kind of city Christmas party or holiday party, just because we could be planning for an event that, who knows where we are in a couple of months. Tennis court resurfacing did get completed this last week, and we did get the nets back up. So if you haven't been over to the Steeper Park area, it has been really good improvements to those courts. I think that's the first time those courts have been resurfaced since they've been installed. And so, definitely an enhancement. And again, we were able to do that because the Dave Hansen Foundation gave us a $10,000 grant, and then the school district also paid $5,000 towards this project. Other than that, this last week we were getting personnel evaluations done for staff, and one of the current things we're dealing with at the city level is obviously consistent with kind of what's going on in our county and in our area. We are having kind of an uptick in cases here at the city. It is starting to impact personnel. What we're actually seeing a lot of that makes it hard from kind of a planning perspective in the city is that a lot of these people that are getting quarantined because their spouse is coming home and they were a contact, or their kid was, their kid is forced to quarantine. And so, we haven't had a whole lot of instances or any verifiable instances where it's been something in the workplace as far as we know. But a lot of it is kind of what goes on in day-to-day life and family life. So we are kind of evaluating our policies and procedures and trying to be adaptable and trying to, again, prepare for COVID-19. But, at the same time, I think we all know there's only so much you can do in those situations. But you can be as safe as possible, and your spouse or your child can come home and you can get it that way. So, as we're working through that, some of our projects and some of the items that staff are working on are going to be very dependent on our ability to staff and to have full workforces to be able to complete projects. So we may have some disruptions as these next couple weeks and months as it seems to kind of be increasing in intensity in our area. So that's all I have to report at this time. We stand for any questions from commissioners at this time.
Questions for Andrew, commissioners?
Was there, as far as the Christmas party goes, was there discussion for some other alternative for all the staff in lieu of the Christmas party?
I think what we would like to do for the staff is to probably, we usually give them a Christmas bonus of $100. And I think what we would like to do is give them $150 Christmas bonus. So take some of those funds and give it to staff so that they can take their spouse out for a meal, or take their family out to eat to kind of supplement that. I think that was kind of the proposed alternative.
I think that would be a good gesture on
Yeah.
behalf of
I agree.
the city, to appreciate. So I don't know, there's consensus.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Andrew, you got the consensus to do that? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Andrew? All right, we move on to item B. Police Chief Frankie Hayes.
Good evening. We've had quite a lot going on in the short time that I've taken over. The two new hires that you met last week, Officer Luther and Officer Fiesel, they actually started the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center today. So they were originally scheduled for November 9th, and I got a call like a week ago and says, hey, can I, or actually at the beginning of this week, and sorry, today's Monday, beginning of last week, and said, hey, can they be here next week? So, they worked with us, and, the two officers were more than happy to go. So we sent them off yesterday. They started today.
And that's how many weeks again?
14.
14.
Yeah. It's a long 14.
Yeah.
We also, we've been working on an officer from Pennsylvania. And it's been quite a road with him, but when was it, last week, I believe, he signed his final offer letter. So he's got till December 1st to show up for work, and he's looking at houses. He's putting forth the effort. So he is certified. So out of Pennsylvania. So with that being said, he would only have to go to reciprocity, which is 1 week. So he goes to the academy for 1 week. He comes back. He does approximately 6 to 8 weeks of FTO. then he's ready. So, yeah, like I said, we've been working on him for a while, and now I understand what recruiting in sports is like. I mean, this is basically you're fighting against all these other departments, so you have to sell yourself. And I think with me and Sergeant Earhart, I think we sold him. So I'm pretty happy for that. I don't know if any of y'all remember the Black Explorer that Trevor drove. So when I first, or actually before I got promoted, we sat down with Andrew and talked, and they had a new vehicle in the budget for next year. And we basically finally told him we have this Explorer that's sitting there. We can spend a few $1,000s, get it, road ready, and save $20,000. So that's what we did. I found out that the only thing we were waiting on was the partition that goes in between the front seat and the middle seat. It came in today. Levi is hopefully going to get started this week. If not, he said next week. So once that's complete, you'll be seeing a Black Explorer striped and everything. So it's actually really, really nice.
Good job, Randy.
Thank you. The black truck that the previous chief had, I contacted Purple Wave, which is basically an auction site for vehicles and stuff like that. So we're going to be putting that on Purple Wave, getting it sold. Did hire a part-time administrative assistant. She works approximately 15 hours a week. I did this and it was already a position. It wasn't a created position. I did this in looking at Deb's eventually going to retire. And, we argue about it. I tell her 10 years. She tells me 1. So that's a battle we're having right now. But to do everything she does, it's going to take somebody working 15 hours a week, probably a year to learn. Deb does the evidence. She does, sends our reports to KBI and, just a multitude of things. So we did get that. She is hired. She started last week. So that's going pretty well.
And who is she, may I ask?
Bernice Nolette. Her parents live here. They're Boshoffs. I don't know if any of y'all know the Boshoffs, but they're originally from South Africa. But wonderful family. I know them personally, and they're wonderful people. So we've been here in the last week. We've been working with Cheyenne County, Kit Carson County, and you could call them multi-jurisdictional cases. I went up to Cheyenne County to help them serve a search warrant. And Kit Carson County came over today and worked with Sergeant Earhart at the college on a case that the sheriff's office over there is working on. So we're starting to work multi-jurisdictional now. So it's very interesting. We get to know them, they get to know us. So we're starting to participate in seatbelt enforcement, DUI enforcement. We have one coming up at the end of this month, the 26th through the 30th. And then I talked with, right now he's a retired highway patrol, but he works with KDOT. And so they have some programs. By participating in these programs, it's basically you get free equipment. I mean, it could range from little LED lights you put on the side of the road. It could go up to radars, excuse me, PBTs, which are preliminary breath tests, which are pretty expensive, as well are the radars. So by us participating in this, we are eligible for this equipment. And so it's course, saves money all the way around because we use radars, we use PBTs, we use, they're called LED flares or something. You just put them on the side of the road instead of the old time, strike them and throw them. So we got that coming. The first one, like I said, is the 26th through the 30th. And I think we go like November is one, and they just kind of stagger a little bit throughout. They'll be out throughout 2021. So I've been working with Lisa DeWeese. She is at Central School. I can't remember the organization she works for. It's about that long. So, so we're trying to get programs where, the officers go to Central School and, read the kids a story, play with them outside, or whatever. And so with the COVID thing, it kind of slowed down a little bit. And I actually saw her. I was helping one of the officers with an accident, and she walked up to me and said, "Yeah, I'm getting that together for us." So that's in the making. Other than that, I think that's a lot for in a month. So, do you have any questions or anything that?
No, sounds like there's a lot going on. That's good.
Doing a good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Chief.
Thank you.
Move on to item C. Neil. Congratulations on your promotion, Director of Water and Wastewater.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We've been working on quite a few things. We're still looking for 2 positions with the water department. We hired one individual, Shan Weber, and he's been a very good hire for the water department. He's going to do great things for us moving forward. Do daily fuel inventory, state water samples, 4-log chlorine residuals, check wells and lift stations every day, 7 days a week. Locates work orders, distribution meter readings. We had Worcester Pump and Well come out and work on one of our wells. It was having issues. They came out and we found out just how big issues we were having. So it's back together, back up and running. We changed chlorine bottles at the treatment plant checks, vehicle inspection sheets. We rebuilt the smart valve up to the treatment plant. Replaced wall on well 6 that was rotted out. Fixed air line at the wastewater plant today. Worked on time cards, emergency locates. We've been measuring some manholes on some calls that we've got. Moved heater in well 11. We had to put in a new VFD a few months ago. Well, it's getting cold enough that the heaters are wanting to kick on, and where they had to put the new VFD because it's so much bigger than the old one, the heater was facing it, so we don't want nothing to happen to that. Received a truckload of salt, and we replaced some 1.5 meters in the system, which we've got a bunch more that we need to replace. That's kind of the water side for now. On the wastewater side, we're really struggling right now. We're short employee for a leave of absence for a little while, but hopefully when he gets back, we can kind of get back on track out there. Just been some equipment maintenance, some decanning, hauling sludge to the field while we still have good weather, maintenance and cleaning at the wastewater facility, and doing some mowing.
A lot going on.
Yeah, it's been quite a transition, but with the help of Mary, Shauna, Andrew, it's been a lot easier of a transition than it could have been.
Good.
Mary's helped me out a ton.
Good.
Good to hear.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Lee.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Kenton, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you.
Director of Street and Facilities. You're doing a good job.
Thanks. I guess to start off, most Mondays, we do vehicle and equipment checks along with shop cleaning. We finished up mowing. Well, we're trying to finish up mowing most of the right-of-ways in the city lots. We did finish the alley of the GAC, which I think most of you guys noticed that. So that was a pretty good sized project for us. We've winterized our weed sprayers for the year. We put barricades out for the art walk, and we installed a new sidewalk in Stevie Park also. We hired Ray Church. He's hired him in place of Scott Morris that had left us. And we also lost Steve Mangus, who quit, and he went to this county. So I also sent a truck down to Hayes to get some patch. One of my employees, Zach, he went to Colby to do a CDL driving test last week. We've been patching potholes when we have a chance, and painted some parking lines at 10th and Broadway for that new thrift store. Training Elijah on the street sweeper. Bill's been out for leave of absence, so till he gets back, we're kind of making Elijah kind of our fill-in. So we've bladed 19th Street in Colorado. We've started working on the alley behind Hallmark. They've been having some drainage issues that I guess water's been draining into the back of Hallmark in the basement. So we're tearing that out right now, and we've been working on work orders. We've had alleys that get called in for repairs that we take care of. We've had 2 curb cuts, one at 13th and Caldwell, and one at 11th and Sherman. As far as mechanic side, he's repaired the lights and bolts on the Elgin sweeper, repaired Park's leaf blower, repaired Park's park brake on the street mower, service Vactron, sent number 1 loader to Yost for a leaking hub, changed police department police department truck, which he has also, as Frankie said, ordered parts for that vehicle of his. And Levi's kind of in and out. He's helping harvest, so as soon as he gets time, he'll start on that project. So he's also replaced the U-joints in a number 26 loader, repaired AC lines for a line crew truck. When he's not mechanicking, he's out helping us in the field. So that's.
Are we pretty much filled, or do we need one more position for streets?
As of right now, Joey, that's in the water department. He's transferring over to take Steve's position. That's why Neil's got 2 openings.
Good. So we're okay there. Well, thanks for the good job you're doing.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Go to commissioners' report. Start over here with Gary.
It's nice to be back.
JJ.
I think everything's going pretty good. The tennis courts look really good. I was shocked with the color of black and gray, but it looks really good.
Eric.
I don't have anything today.
No, I just got to see the courts as well. They're a little different, and the former tennis players still like to play, so it makes the court really nice. Though I think it's different, and they did the cowboy logo on there, which is great. And I really like how we work together with the school to get that done. So I think with the tennis program, that's great, and the parks are looking great, and the topside trails looking great. And it's just all coming together, and just really appreciate how all the employees have pulled together with all the changes that have gone on, and losses and the hardships, and that you're all pulling together and doing a great job, I think.
Well, I'd just like to echo those thoughts again. I think the community is moving in the right direction, the collaborative cooperation that we see amongst the employees. I think we're moving in the right directions. Thank you to all the promotees for everything that you do. We know that you continue to lead the departments in a right way. And with that being said, Andrew, anything else that you would like to say to the commission, or any questions for Andrew?
I'm all good on my end.
All right. With that being said, go ahead. Did you say something, Andrew?
I was just going to say, no, I'll just hop off now.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks.
All right, have a great night.
You bet, you too. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session under KSA 754319B1 for a period of 10 minutes at most for matters relating to personal matters of non-elected personnel. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. The time is 5:55, Mary, and I request only the commission. Are we on? All right. There we go. We'll call this meeting back to order at 6:05, and if there's not any further discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Ferris, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.